I'm Josh Ryan, licensed professional counselor, and this is your Daily Rep, a short practice to build emotional control under pressure. Yesterday we talked about why questions are stronger than arguments. Questions shift conversations from confrontation to curiosity. But questions alone are not enough, because once the question is asked, something more important has to happen. Listening. And most people are not actually listening during conversations. They're waiting for the other person to finish speaking, waiting for their turn to respond, waiting for the moment they can make their next point. But waiting is not listening. Listening requires something much, much difficult. Letting go of the need to immediately control the conversation. When people feel heard, their nervous system relaxes. Defensiveness often lowers. Their brain shifts out of production mode and back into thinking. That shift is powerful because people rarely change their perspective while they feel attacked. But they often become more flexible once they feel understood. Listening creates that shift. Think about the difference in these two situations. In the first situation, someone expresses frustration. Before they even finish speaking, the other person interrupts. They correct the details. They re-explain their side. They go on defending themselves. Now the conversation has a competition. Two people are trying to prove their perspective. Two people talking, no one actually understanding. Now imagine a different response. Someone expresses frustration. And instead of interrupting, the other person just listens fully. They allow the other person to finish. They don't correct. They don't defend. They simply absorb the information. When someone feels that kind of attention, something changes. They begin to feel respected. They begin to feel acknowledged. And that respect and acknowledgement lowers emotional intensity. Once emotional intensity drops, the conversation becomes easier to navigate. Listening also reveals information that arguments often hide. When people feel safe explaining their perspective, they often reveal the real issue. Sometimes the issue isn't what they said first. Sometimes the frustration is coming from something much deeper, a misunderstanding, could be a past experience, a concern that hasn't been expressed clearly yet. But if you interrupt it too quickly, you never discover that information. Listening uncovers it. That's why strong leaders listen longer than most people expect. They allow space for people to explain themselves fully. Not because they agree, but because understanding the full picture allows for better decisions. Listening also slows your own emotional reaction. When you focus on understanding instead of being prepared to respond, your brain shifts away from more defensive thinking. You become more curious, more observant, more aware of the situation that is unfolding around you. That awareness gives you better options. It gives you more control over how the conversation begins to unfold. And control over the conversation increases influence. Influence rarely comes from dominating a conversation. It comes from guiding it. And guidance requires understanding. Reactive communicators interpret quickly. They correct details immediately. They feel the need to defend their position before the other person even finishes speaking. But disciplined communicators allow conversations to breathe. They listen completely. They gather information, and then they respond thoughtfully. That difference changes outcomes. Because once people feel heard, they are much more willing to hear you. Listening builds your credibility. It builds trust in the relationship. It creates the opportunity for future cooperation. And cooperation is far more powerful than winning an argument. This is why listening is one of the most underrated communication skills. People underestimate it because it feels passive. But listening is not passive, it's strategic. It allows you to understand motivations. It reveals emotional signals. It exposes misunderstandings. And once you see those things clearly, your response to those becomes far more effective. Let's make this a little more practical. Imagine someone criticizes something you did. The reactive response might be to immediately defend, saying something like, "That's not what happened." But a disciplined communicator might respond differently. They might simply say, "Tell me more about what you're seeing." Then they listen fully, no interruptions, no corrections, just focused attention. Once the person finishes their explanation, the conversation becomes much clearer. Now the response can be thoughtful instead of reactive, and often the emotional intensity has already dropped. Listening, fully listening, created that shift. So today's rep: the next time someone expresses frustration with you, practice listening all the way to the end. Don't interrupt. Don't correct. Don't prepare your response while they're still talking. Just focus on understanding what they're actually saying. Once they finish, pause for a moment, then respond. That simple shift will change more conversations than any argument ever will. Because people are far more willing to listen once they feel heard. This is a part of Pillar 3, choosing your response. And sometimes the most powerful response isn't speaking, it's listening. If you're serious about building emotional discipline and communication strength, stay with us in the process. We're in the middle of the 30-day discipline run. 13 reps completed, 17 more to go. If you want more information, you can get the book and the workbook at pauseandrespond.com. Make sure you follow to the show, because tomorrow we'll explore something that strengthens listening even further and answer why curiosity is the most powerful mindset in difficult conversations. Less reaction, more choice.